Welcome to the SEO podcast show. They call me Chuck. His name is... Okay, I was going to do a whole intro.
Hi, and welcome to the SEO podcast, Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. It worked.
Yeah.
It's working. Good. Thank you guys for tuning in. And you are listening to the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes.
I didn't know what you was pausing for.
Yeah, whatever. A good pause every now and then makes everyone uncomfortable.
Exactly.
You're listening to the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes. That is because of you.
Yeah.
This is podcast number 127. Is that yours? Are you that guy?
I'm that guy who uses the phone.
Yeah, this is podcast number 127. As always, we want to mention a tip from our previous podcast. Of course, our previous podcast was 126. And our tip is SEO boils down to 4 things: text, links, popularity, and reputation. So go back and listen to podcast number 126. We actually covered page 2 of the long list that we're going to cover. We're going to actually cover page 3 today.
Yep, yes, sir.
So excellent. Woohoo! Ding, ding, ding. Do we have a review noise or something? I'm just glad I don't have to get another tattoo.
We should get a gong or something to ring every time we get a review.
This is from Jeffrey Richley. Title is Must Listen, 5 stars. These guys really know their stuff. They certainly know how to goof around and laugh, but at the end of the day, they are hardcore SEO rock stars. Yeah. If you like to have fun while you learn, this is the podcast for you. Punch in the face to you too. Hey, Jeffrey, punch in the face back to you.
Yes,
let us know what your website is so we can give you a little bit of link love. Make sure you're liking us on Facebook. You can do that at facebook.com/E-Webstyle. Twitter.com/
uncomfortable pause like
yeah,
that. E-Webstyle.
YouTube.com/
E-Webstyle.
podcast at
e-webstyle.com. So, Jeff, here, why don't you email us at podcast@ewebstyle.com. Send us a link to your site, and then we can check it out.
And if we like to remind you, if you're watching or listening right now, you're at your computer, you can have some multitasking phone. Tweet right now. You should tweet hashtag
SEO Podcast 127.
And hit us up at E-Webstyle so that we get a notice that you're listening. I'm seeing people do it. So
yes,
excellent. Thank you guys out there. A little bit of news. Oh, and we also must remind you, we are your friendly local neighborhood
top position snatchers.
Yes. Where our mantra is
don't be a douche.
Don't be a douche. A little bit of news. There wasn't that much going on actually. It's good stuff. Groupon IPO today.
Mm-hmm.
They were hovering around $20, which puts their valuation about $12.7 billion.
Yeah, it came out higher than they thought. I know they had anticipated 12, and they came out at like 18.
I wonder what the offer was that they turned down recently, because they did turn down something recently. It'd be interesting to know that.
I wonder if they'll offer deals.
Oh, yeah.
Stockholders.
IPO deal brought to you by Groupon. Half off.
Yeah.
It would be the largest selling Groupon deal ever.
Yeah, $18, but you can get it for $9.
This was interesting also. Is Linux dead? And I never had this perspective, right? For those of you who don't know, Linux is an open source operating system. It's been long touted as to be the Facebook and not Facebook, that would be wrong. The Microsoft and Apple operating system killer. And I hadn't thought of this perspective. Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So basically every operating system is going mobile. Apple's got their iPhone and their iPad. Android.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft certainly has mobile devices, although we never talk about them.
We probably won't ever.
Yeah.
Except for like right now.
I can tell you I will never have another one. Because I had one.
You had one?
Oh yeah, the only thing that saved it is I was actually able to put a wrapper on it, so it totally enveloped the operating system, so I didn't have to deal with it.
Gotcha.
Bad. And Linux doesn't have anything. They don't have anything that is actually an operating system for a mobile device. At least not that I know of. I'm sure there's one out there.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not. It was never really a major competitor to Microsoft and Apple. So I think it's even less of a competitor in mobile. So it's interesting as we go mobile, as more and more searches happen mobile, as more and more really computer time goes mobile.
Yeah, FaceTime.
Yeah. Then the operating systems you're using are going to become very relevant, more important, and we'll probably exclude Linux.
And it's funny, when I think Linux, I think servers.
Yeah.
I don't think OS.
Right.
I think servers. I think GoDaddy hosting option, Windows or Linux.
Yep.
And then that's what makes me kind of contradict what you said, because most of these CMSs that we tend to install, WordPress, ModX, Joomla, all of these CMSs work on Linux. They actually tend to work better on Linux than a Windows box.
They're designed to work on Linux, and then they happen to work on a Windows box, which we can attest to because our sites are on Windows boxes and they run fine. Yeah, there's one little tweak with WordPress on the login process. We know the workaround. Another thing, hey, I don't know if you heard this, there was an algorithm change after
Google Algo update.
Charles sent it in my direction to keep me up. We're going to call this the Ziplock update. Because it doesn't really have any sort of name associated with it. Usually there's like caffeine or panda.
Farmer or whatever it is.
Something, right? Yeah. This one had nothing.
This is Google Ziplock.
Google Ziplock, because it's all about freshness. Really what it is they're saying that this new update is going to impact 35% of searches, and that the update is really about freshness, to give more credibility to freshness. And I love some of the examples, and you probably have some off the top of your head of where this impact is important and useful.
Well, I like the example that they gave on their blog site, on the Google blog site. The example they gave was, if you were to search Olympics, right, then you would technically want to see stuff about the upcoming 2012 Olympics and not necessarily something about Dominique Dawes from the Olympics ago.
Right.
And so the whole concept of the algo update was to bring you the freshest, most up-to-date content relevant to your search query.
Makes sense. Some of the other examples they gave were like NFL, Exxon earnings. You really don't want Exxon earnings from 1970. Yeah. So and projections.
Yeah, NFL was a good one. Yeah, if I'm looking for the 49ers score, I'd like to see, what their score was right now.
Last night or right now during game
during
time.
The game, rather than what last week's score was, because that doesn't help me.
Another example, SLR, kind of modern example, SLR cameras, right? Because they're coming out all the time, so you really do want to know, everything that's been out probably in the last 6 months, not everything that's been out 3 years ago.
Exactly.
And I do a lot of searching for reviews, and that's something that I bump into. When you're looking for reviews on software changes so fast that you really want a current review. Yeah. I don't want a review because the software 2 years ago
is not the same.
It's not the same. It's got the features, sets is different. Potentially it doesn't work where it used to, or it works and it didn't used to. All of those things. So
it's part of my blanks there. Software doesn't work.
The Twitter fire hose remains off. So what that means is that Google isn't indexing Twitter, and so Twitter feeds are not not instantaneous Twitter feeds are not part.
And I think what that really means is that they're not going to automatically include them on that search engine results page.
Because they did that for a while.
Yeah, you can go in and check the latest news option on the search page, and then you'll see Twitter results.
And just for some clarification, so you guys may have been aware of the caffeine update.
Yeah.
And the caffeine update didn't have a big impact on searches because really caffeine was about infrastructure.
Yeah.
And we saw the video of Matt Cutts where he said we actually could take a snapshot of everything available on the internet
at once,
all at once, repeatedly, and know the exact status of the internet and actually indicate that in a search of what is it now, because since pages are always changing and they're not indexing every page the second it changes, it is actually wrong. Technically, each search you do is a little bit outdated, and they could actually implement their infrastructures big enough, their bandwidth is big enough, their CPUs are big enough that they could be taking.
They have enough processing power to do that.
but it would bring the internet to a halt.
Yeah.
So, tip of the hat actually to Google for
not doing
punch
that.
in the face for not doing that. Caffeine was really about infrastructure and how you can index pages, and really about amping up the ability to index lots and lots of information. And then Panda was an update pretty recently where they say that Panda impacted 12% of searches, and again they're saying this Ziplock update is gonna affect 35% of searches. And they did have a freshness portion of the algorithm before, and they said that freshness portion influenced about 17%. So they've doubled the amount of what they're going to do.
So what does that mean to you? That means to our SEO out there who's building a site, who's optimizing a site, update your content, especially if your site is about current events or pop culture or things that tend to have frequent updates. Make sure you're on top of it. And for the rest of those whose sites may not be part of some sort of industry that requires frequent updates, update your content anyway. Rewrite that services page. Update your About Us page. It's probably outdated anyway. Change the text on your homepage, and you would probably want to implement some sort of practice to do this monthly, or at least quarterly, to keep your information fresh.
Well, and it's interesting because it begs the question: what is Google going to consider fresh?
Exactly.
If I tweak one line on a page, is that fresh? Does that make that page fresh? I think the answer to that is clearly no. If I change, 70% of the content, at what point is it fresh content? And what do I need to be doing to make sure that I have fresh content? So
I think the answer is going to tie into typical SEO practices. If those headers are changed, if the title is changed, then they may consider that fresh content.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yeah, it brings up one of the points actually in a Search Engine Land article was there's the potential for freshness spam.
Freshness spam.
Yeah, so just it's going to go back to like Content Farm, and I think that idea was, well, you could write code to flip the content every time Google visits, right? Indexes the Google monsters. And if you did that, then you'd be spamming with freshness.
Sounds like a Google pirate.
I thought this was interesting. Search Engine Land thought it was important to make the distinction that a 35% change does not mean a 35% improvement.
Okay.
And they go on to say, because a lot of people who frankly got screwed in the Panda update would not call that I think it was a 13% improvement.
Yeah, they didn't call that an improvement at all.
And I thought this was interesting, right? We kind of know Google is the best. We think of Google as the best. And there is no commonly accepted way of rating a search engine result.
No commonly accepted way of rating a search engine result.
So you can do a search on Google and you do the same search on Bing. There's no way to say which one's best. Like we don't have this one's 80%, this one's or this half as good. This is this. I mean, we do have this kind of general sense that one sucks. This one's okay. I mean, and usually, let's be honest, Bing is at least okay, probably good, and Google's gooder
if we used it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's not a fair assessment for me personally because only time I use Bing is when I'm researching or doing Ad Center. Other than that, matter of fact, I even import my AdWords campaign to Ad Center, so I'm rarely there.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, you just work it from one piece of software.
Yeah, I'm working on two browsers though. Chrome on one monitor, Firefox on the other monitor. I think I'm gonna put Bing on one of those. And then, that way I can come back after a month of doing that and have a better answer to that question.
Did you bring the list?
Yeah, I have a list.
Cool. I just want to make sure that I wasn't going to go get it. So that's really kind of our news for today. Remember, if you're watching, tweet hashtag SEO Podcast 127. And let's get started with our information. This is going to be another 10 or something points.
We might just run through all of these. It's only like 4 more on the second page, and we'll put this horse to bed. stick a fork in it. Hey, but check this out. So,
and this is old, right? This is kind of an old article, so it's really...
this was, to recap, we've been going through this article that we found by Richard Burkhardt, posted in 2008 in April on SEJ, on Search Engine Journal, and he posted a listing of the things you must do in regards to SEO. And so the reason we started going through this list was to see what was relevant then, if it's still relevant now, and what has changed. And so right now it's 55 of them. We're on number 36. So we'll see if we can get through this next 19 pretty quick. 36 is get the owner or CEO blogging. That'll be you.
Yeah.
It's priceless. CEO influence on the blog is incredible, as this is the voice of the company. Response from the owner to readers' comments will cause your credibility to skyrocket.
Yep.
I co-signed that. 37. Optimize the text in your RSS feed, just like you should with your posts and web pages. Use descriptive, keyword-rich text in your titles and description. Check.
Yeah.
He's talking about the RSS feed. So people who are blogging, and you know how you can have a different description and text in the feed that people subscribe to.
Right.
Optimize that text.
And that's just in general. Anytime you're posting something, you know, a lot of what we'll do is go into like a PR company and train them on how to do the fundamentals of SEO, so that their blog posts, their even their press
articles,
releases,
and all that,
are more impactful from an SEO perspective.
38. Use captions with your images. As with newspaper photos, place keyword-rich captions in your images. Yeah. Somewhat. I think you know, right now with images, all the sites I've been optimizing, I've been given an alt tag and an image title. Right. And so that's been pretty sufficient for me. The caption, I think, is more of a design deal.
Right.
You know, if you want the little caption below it, then great. It could also help because it is an additional keyword. I just don't know if it's entirely necessary.
Or more or less valuable than an alt tag, yeah.
Exactly. 39. Pay attention to the context surrounding your images. Images can rank based on the text that surround them on the page. Pay attention to keyword, text, headings, etc. Yeah, I mean, I would say common sense would say put this image in a place where the content that you're reading next to it is relative to the image.
Yep.
Right.
Then make sure that the image file name has keyword-rich content in it.
Exactly. 40. You're better off letting your site pages be found naturally by the crawler. Good global navigation and linking will serve you much better than relying only on an XML sitemap.
Well, yeah, that goes back to usability, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, have a sitemap, and you know your website needs to be, you know, something that we learned the other day, and I use other day for things that happened a year ago, so and it probably was about a year ago. Is that, you know, the more buried your blog posts are, the harder it is for Google, or the less Google's going to rank them. So make sure that there's some links early on, maybe on your home page or maybe on a secondary page, that go to, you know, blog posts inside there somewhere.
41. There are 2 ways to not see Google's personalized results. 1, log out of Google. 2, append the password equals 0 to the end of your search URL in the search bar. Okay.
Yeah, and that's you know, the clients who call us and say, "Hey, I'm already on the first page for my term."
Log out.
I'm not seeing that. I'm not even seeing you on the 3rd page.
Yeah, that's integrity.
Are you logged in?
I could spin that. Really? Well, I'm awesome. Logged in, you know.
Well, I did brag to one of our clients the other day. Hey, this is how good we are at social. I just doubled your Facebook followers. That's because he had 1, and I liked it. Yeah. But yeah, we have clients do that regularly, and they just need to log out.
Yeah. 42. Links, especially deep links from a high PR site, are golden. High PR indicates high trust, so the backlinks will carry more weight. Yeah, quality over quantity.
And deep links in that situation really can apply to really both situations. Like the situation where you've got a deep link on MSN, so maybe not the homepage, although that would be more valuable, but also linking into a deep page of yours. So not your homepage, and we were just talking about this today, some of our link building efforts, are focused on a target page in the website, not just sending traffic to the home page of the website.
Exactly. Let's see here. Use absolute links. Not only will it make your on-site link navigation less prone to problems like links to and from HTTPS pages, but if someone scrapes your content, you'll get backlink juice out of it. It's an old tactic. I have been doing that for a while. I think it's doesn't really work that much now because anybody who scrapes content, Google has already input procedures to prevent them from ranking higher than you. But more importantly, nowadays you don't need the full URL.
Right.
It's usually everything after the slash.
Right.
Anyway, and so they're removing that. 44. See if your hosting company offers sticky forwarding when moving to a new domain. This allows temporary forwarding to the new domain from the old, retaining the new URL in the address bar so that users can gradually get used to the new URL.
All right, I have a little problem with that.
Okay.
If you're leaving the old URL in the title bar, it doesn't make like there's a switch. It's one day it's one, the next day it's next. I don't think you get people used to that.
I just think you redirect.
You just redirect and use 301 redirects to make sure that your link juice travels. That's one thing that probably was not in place at the time of this article, was the importance of the 301 redirect.
Yeah, probably right. 45. Understand social marketing. It is part of SEO. The more you understand about sites like Dig, Yelp, Delicious, Facebook, etc., the better you will be able to compete in search. Yeah, market social. I mean, that's a no-brainer. It's funny, he was talking about that in 08.
Yeah.
As big as it is now. 46. To get the best chance for your videos to be found by the crawlers, create a video sitemap and list it in your Google Webmaster Central account. I was actually going to talk about the video sitemap earlier when we were talking about the XML sitemap.
Right.
I think you should do as many sitemaps as you can.
Yeah.
Video sitemap, XML sitemap, HTML sitemap, the regular sitemap page on your site, like all of that, definitely helps your site get indexed more. Let's see here. 47. Videos that show up in Google blended search results don't just come from YouTube. Be sure to submit your videos to other quality video sites like MetaCafe, AOL, MSN, and Yahoo, to name a few.
Vimeo.
Vimeo.
Vimeo, yeah.
Surround your video content with pages. Surround your video content on your pages with keyword text, similar to the images.
Yep.
Right.
And we would even submit that the transcript or the actual script for the video should have keyword-rich content with the keywords early and often in the actual body of the script, because Google does transcribe those videos. So
let's see here. Use the words image or picture in your photo, alt descriptions, and captions. A lot of searches are for a keyword plus one of those words. I concur. Somewhat. I mean, because these days more Google users are getting savvier now. If they want images, they'll just click the images tab, and they don't necessarily tag it. A picture of Chuck. It's just they'll just search
Chuck and then hit images. Yeah,
exactly. Enable enhanced image search in your Google Webmaster Central account. Well, Google Webmaster Tools was huge back then.
Right.
A lot of people don't use it that much now. But images are a big part of new blended search results. 51. Add viral components to your website or blog. Reviews, sharing functions, ratings, visitor comments, etc. Definitely. I mean, that's pretty much, share and follow, right?
Yeah.
That we tagging most of our sites with the WordPress plugin to make them social. So these articles and posts can be shared.
Well, and that's also kind of link baiting, right? It's have content that people are interested in reviews. In fact, we're thinking about doing some reviewing of, we use SEO Quake as one of our tools. We're probably going to do some reviews of those kinds of things, and those we believe will be powerful things that people link to.
Yeah, definitely. 52. Broaden your range of services to include video, podcast, news, social content, and so forth. SEO is not about 10 blue links anymore.
Yeah. Well, I'd love there's one example, one description, and it said that Facebook. Imagine a conference with I don't know, 1 billion attendees, and Facebook is offering a free booth. You should take advantage of that free booth.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's just a really, really descriptive. You know, if there was a conference and there were 1 billion people going and you could get a free booth, you would probably be there. Yeah. Well, it exists. It's called Facebook, and make a Facebook page. So
great. I like the concept. When considering a link purchase or exchange, check the cache date of the page where your link will be located in Google, where suitable URL for the actual page. The newer the cache date, the better. If the page isn't there or the cache date is more than a month old, the page isn't worth much. Interesting concept, because I get these emails all the time from people from Never Land who email me about link exchanges, right? And I always send them the spam and ask them to remove me from their list.
Right.
And then I happen to look at the sites that they were offering links from. Yeah, and these sites aren't in the end. I mean, like, his email says it's a PR5 site, and then when I search the site, it's your Quake says something different.
Disagrees with the PR5 assessment. Yeah, because if you get a link, you want a link to a PR5, that actually sounds pretty good. If it actually were PR5.
Exactly. Let's see. If you have pages on your site that are very similar, and you are concerned about dupe content issues, and you want to be sure to correct what is included in search engines, place the URL of the preferred page in your sitemap. Makes sense, but I think it's kind of redundant. Sitemaps have all of the URLs.
Right.
They should, and so the URL would already be there.
Well, and Google now has a mechanism, I think, in terms of a meta tag, where you can actually define which one is supposed to be the primary. Yeah, and then you can use canonical to also reinforce that. So it's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that was brought up, because that's become big in the last 2 years. I'm surprised that it was mentioned in this article in 2008.
The last one, number 55, check your server headers. Search for check server header to find free online tools for this. You want to be sure your URL is reported 200 OK status or 301 moved permanently for redirects. If the status shows anything else, check to be sure your URLs are set up properly and used consistently throughout your site.
General error checking.
Yeah.
Good idea. Great
idea. You should do that along with browser checking and everything else. That should be included there.
Absolutely.
So that's it for that list. That was a great list. Like I said, it was by Richard Bocart, posted on Search Engine Journal 3 years ago. And so basically, out of all 55 things he listed, I would say 75% of this is probably still relevant.
Yeah, and I would say he was maybe even a little ahead of the game.
Ahead of the game on its own.
Yeah.
I would concur to that. Pretty good. I got blanks there.
All right.
Come on, Nick.
Yeah. We've got a photographer in here, and we're blank staring and blank staring and blank. I haven't heard the click yet.
Yeah, I know. So,
all right.
Blank stare is at Google. So Google, they released the Gmail app for iPhone.
Okay. Yeah.
And it didn't work.
Oh no!
They released it in the App Store, got a whole bunch of downloads, and then they yanked it after complaints from everybody that it wasn't working.
Everybody that it wasn't working.
Everybody. It didn't
work.
So they yanked it, said they're improving it, and then they'll put it back when they fix it.
And by improving it, they mean making it work?
Yeah. So when I first read that, I read that on TechCrunch. I was like, whose job was that?
Yeah.
Who checked off and said it works?
It works. Well, they tested it on the Android. It worked. It also brings another kind of phone related, especially iPhone. The iPhone 4S is having all sorts of battery problems, apparently.
I heard there's people's phones dying on them.
Yeah, so Apple's come out and said that there's a new it's actually operating system based, and so it's probably requesting updates too frequently or something like that, and so they're going to have that fixed out pretty soon. But
so what's up, Apple?
And Google. Gmail. Gmail not working. Reminds me of the conversation we had yesterday where somebody was saying that Gmail's not secure enough.
Yeah.
And they're on Yahoo. They're using Yahoo Mail. And we're like, well, we're going to switch you to Gmail, even if it's not secure.
It's better than Yahoo.
It actually works. Maybe not on an iPhone app, and it actually works. So, great. That's the end of our podcast. Podcast number 127. You've been listening to the SEO podcast, Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. Today we'll actually be doing a few website analysis. We have the unknown secret of website SEO analysis, or SEO website analysis, I think is how it goes.
One of those ones.
SEO stands for Search Engine Visitor Optimization.
Yes.
And basically what you can do is go to our website, e-webstyle.com. You'll see a form on the right. Submit your website. And if you're one of the lucky names chosen out of the hat, we'll do a 10-minute video analysis from a search engine visitor optimization perspective of your website. Our feedback from that has just been phenomenal. Thanks to those people who've given us feedback. They really appreciate it. We're not out to slam a website.
Not bashing your site. If it's wrong, we'll tell you that. But we try to be nice. I have no clue what that is.
I don't know what is that noise.
And it's very productive, and it has some value there. So if you want questions about your site, you're not sure about it, which direction to go, why it's not working, submit one, and then I'll do it personally.
Yeah, excellent. You've been listening to the most popular SEO podcast on iTunes.
Because of you.
Punch in the face to all of you. Oh, I didn't tell you. Go on to iTunes. Create an account.
Yes.
Make a review.
Yes.
And
let us know you did it.
Let us know you did it.
Yeah,
and
3 steps, 3 minutes.
It's awesome. Thank you guys very much. Until the next podcast, bye-bye for now.